good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Thursday, the 8th of August. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Chris Jack. How's it going, Chris?
All good, Derek. All good. Yourself? What's happening?
Not a lot, to be honest. Just gearing up, of course, for the weekend. Rangers back in action in a couple of days' time. First home match. I'm using the infamous air quotes there at Hampden. So, very much looking forward to that. But as ever, there is plenty to discuss when it comes to all things Rangers. And, I think we'll kick off. Bit of news, obviously. Well, first of all, folks, if you haven't, the Cyriel Dessers press conference that he gave after the game on Tuesday night against Dynamo Kiev is over on the YouTube channel. So you can go and watch what he had to say, and you can also read every word that he had to say as well over on the Rangers Review website. So do go and check it out. Also seen loved the little snippet seen on social media yesterday, Chris, of Big Cyriel paying for some Rangers fans' haircuts as well. I want you to know where the barber shop is, because I want to maybe make sure I pop in next time when Cyriel's in there. But just shows you what a big nice guy he is.
I think it makes it all the more harder to criticise, and that's not to say he's not had his fair share of criticism for his performances, but any criticism that he has had, it's always been made in the knowledge that he is a gentleman, that he's a really nice big guy. From a press perspective, he's always been great to deal with. He answers questions. He's available. He's on the Rangers press rota fairly regularly, and he's always been great to deal with. Spoke to him obviously after the game in Berlin, and he had a bit of criticism over the course of the summer. He had a lot of rumours about potentially leaving, and people saying no, he's not right for Rangers, and he should be moving on. And he still comes into the mix zone over there in Berlin, shakes everyone's hand, pleased to see everyone, big smiles, answers everyone's questions, and then goes away again. If he was to turn out to be a really good Rangers striker, I think people would be really pleased for him, because he does seem to get it. He does seem to understand the club. He can certainly handle the pressure side of it. And in the grand scheme of things, I doubt he's going to miss whatever it costs for a couple of haircuts. He's not going to go back home to Mrs. Dessers, and they're going to be tight at the end of the month. But that's not the point. It's a nice gesture. It's doing someone nice, or doing something nice for someone. He's clearly also bumped into the guys in the barbers. I thought, no, I'm just going to go and get a haircuts, and it's a really nice touch.
Yeah, top drawer stuff. Lots of comments come in just off the back of that. Empire says, hi Chris, does Cyriel smell nice? I always think he'd smell amazing. I'd imagine that he would probably smell pretty nice. Not that we're going up sniffing Rangers players, but I'd imagine that he would do, Chris.
I can't, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I can't remember ever sniffing Cyriel. If I ever get the chance, I'll come back on the video and we can do that. What does Cyriel Dessers smell like? But from memory, it's not something that I have noted.
Yeah, and Peter says, love the top, Chris. Yeah, good colour scheme that you're wearing today. So a nice bit of praise for your attire this morning. Right, let's get stuck in. It's a bit of sort of transfer snippets from yesterday. A 19-year-old Chelsea midfielder linked with Rangers. The Ibrox club said to have made contact with Chelsea, but they are looking for a straight loan deal without a future option to buy clause. It's been reported that Rangers do want that option to buy. Leo Castledine, I think that's how you pronounce his surname. He made his debut for Chelsea under Mauricio Pochettino in the League Cup last season. He's played in the Premier League 2, the Development Academy League down south. But I've got to be honest, Chris, I hadn't heard of him before he was linked yesterday. I know I've seen a graphic actually a couple of days ago of Chelsea's first team squad, and they've got about 450 players. So understandable if he hasn't made the breakthrough as yet. But again, another midfielder that's been linked.
5 minutes into the show, we're finally getting onto a proper topic rather than haircuts, my jumper, and what does Cyriel Dessers smell like. We're finally off and running on the briefing this morning. Like you, Derek, this is a player I don't know an awful lot about. Actually, I saw that graphic. I think it was on Twitter the other day there. Saw that graphic and couldn't believe the number of names and faces that were on it. It's really quite something. You know that Chelsea do sign a lot of footballers. But that graphic really just laid bare the size of the squad and the size of the task that the manager's got in picking a squad and picking a team. You would like to think they have a couple going spare. Fair to say. I don't know a lot about this guy as a player. The name just came up. Started doing the rounds yesterday. Not really had a chance to check it out, so we're no further forward on that. But I think the encouraging thing, if you like, is it's a transfer rumour, because we've been somewhat short of them over the last couple of weeks. Even the Cherney one progressed quite quickly and then was done. The proper one came out, progressed really quickly, and was then done. We've not had a transfer saga for some time, so I hope. Hopefully we don't have too many of them, because they are somewhat weary and they can grate a wee bit when they turn into a saga. But I think it's clear that Rangers still need more players. Now, we spoke about that before the game the other night. We spoke about it after the game the other night. This squad is far from done. Rangers do need further reinforcements, and they certainly need a reinforcement or two in the middle of the pitch as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, his mother, I've just a comment has just popped in. His mother is Lucy Alexander, who presents Holmes Under the Hammer. So there you go. That's thank you to Homer for that little bit of information there. But Rangers have been linked. Weirdly, Aberdeen have also been linked with him. Apparently, according to reports, they're just looking for a straight loan. I can't remember the last time Aberdeen beat Rangers to a player, Chris. I think we're going way back 80s or something like that. Let us know in the comments, folks. But yeah, Aberdeen said to be keen on him as well. Now, another player, we've touched on it in the video before, I think last week or the week before, possibly, Chris, is that of Hannibal Mejbri, the Manchester United midfielder, into his final year of his deal at Old Trafford. Rangers said to be interested in the 21-year-old Tunisian. It's also said that Celtic are keen on him as well. He has spent time out on loan at the likes of Birmingham City and Sevilla. Didn't quite work for him over there in Spain, but apparently, according to reports down south, Man United looking for a permanent transfer for him. Rangers believed to be keen on a loan, like Leo Castledine, with the option to buy at the end of that one. But again, midfielder, I've got to say, pardon the pun, he would have a bit of bite in that midfield area from what I've seen of him before, Chris. The fact he's been linked to Celtic tells me, of course, maybe agent drumming up, looking for the best deal, quite rightly, for his client. But that is a bit of a transfer saga. You could say it has been sort of dragging on a little bit.
It's one I've asked on a couple of times, and not really got that far on it, unfortunately. So that can either mean that there's definitely something in it and people don't want to tell you, or there's nothing in it and they just can't be bothered coming back and saying no, because there's been a lot of names doing the rounds over the course of the summer. So it's not one that we're any further forward on. Was it perhaps even 3 weeks ago, certainly a fortnight ago, that this one first came out? So I asked a couple of times on it, round about there, didn't get any further, and over the last week or so, transfers haven't really been on the agenda outside of proper. But I think in terms of another midfielder, I think Hannibal fits that. He fits that category. He fits the profile I think Rangers would be looking for. If United are looking for a permanent deal, does that then rule Rangers out in terms of the fee? We don't know what United would be looking at, but I think in general the fans would be more encouraged with a fee and a permanent deal than a loan with no option. If Rangers can get a loan with an option, that would be good. If it's just going to be a straight up loan and you're then developing someone else's player with no prospect of holding on to them, I can see why people would be a bit sceptical of that. Now, Rangers they've gone down that road before. yes, you have to try and exploit the loan market and try and get promising up-and-coming players in where you can, but ultimately you don't really want to be developing players for another club or developing a player for the parent club to then sell on, and you then completely miss out. Now the manager has mentioned Abdallah Sima over the last couple of weeks, and that one doesn't seem to be completely dead yet. If Rangers could get him in, then the loan has had an extra benefit. If Rangers give Abdallah Sima a lot of first-team football, European experience and a medal, and he then goes and Brighton sell him and he goes elsewhere, yes, Rangers have had a benefit, but not a long-term one. So I think that's when you look at the likes of the Cortez deal and the Diomande deal, these are the loans with the obligations or the loans with the options are the route that I would like to see Rangers go down, rather than a straight loan and you're then developing a player for someone else. So hopefully that's the route that they are able to go down over the course of the next few weeks as this window grinds to a close.
Yeah, most definitely. Lots of points coming in just off the back of that. Departures, of course, we're still looking at some notable departures to leave the club. James with the point says, what's happening about Hagi and Cantwell finding new clubs? Well, as it stands, they are both still Rangers players. Clement was quizzed on Hagi prior to the Kiev game. He was asked, in fact, Joshua, I think, asked him, is Hagi still in your plans this season? He said that no, we had clearly talked with him before the pre-season already and with his agents about that. We need to look, like I said, at a lot of things with the club, about wages, about how many players you can have in a position with the budget we have, and to get a budget to make transfers. It was really clear that the idea is to sell. That's what he wanted also. So that's a clear situation. So Hagi wants out. Cantwell, as we know, wants out. But it's just a case of getting money in for them to leave the club. Like sort of Man United with Hannibal, Chris, it's fair that Rangers looking for, instead of a loan, they're looking for sort of a cash transaction, a permanent transfer for both of them. Cantwell, I mean, his agent's try to sort of flog him to different clubs. We know the Lecce Instagram post about a month ago. He has been linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, clubs down south, but nothing seems to be happening on that front at this moment in time.
No, it's all gone quiet in terms of the outgoings as well, and that's a problem for Rangers, because we need the outgoings to really move on. We've spoken a lot about that number. Even other areas of the squad, you need players to start moving on before further reinforcements can come in again. Yep.
Chris has just popped out. He's actually having a few issues with the old stream there, so we'll carry on flying solo. There he goes. We've got him back. How's the stream, Chris? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? I believe it was your internet rather than mine that cut out that time. I don't think... Yep. Well, he's just frozen again there. So let us know if you can hear us, folks. Just having a few technical issues there, but we'll carry on regardless. Let us know if you can hear Chris or if you can hear me, but we'll soldier on anyway just now. But Bluebells are Bluebell. An interesting point just on the two players. He says, Derek, Chris, thoughts on PC making the Cantwell and Hagi decisions to sell so public? Surely clubs are now going to lowball, knowing we want shot of them. I've seen a number of supporters saying this. Is it an advisable move for Rangers to announce that they aren't part of the plans? He did likewise with Sam Lammers, of course, before he moved to FC20. But Chris, looks like people are saying it's definitely you. You're using the McDonald's Wi-Fi, according to Kev. But I think we've got you back for now. This point by Bluebells are Blue. Is it a sort of a fair shout from supporters to question why the club have made it so public that they're not part of the first team plans? I can understand the theory. I'm not convinced in the real world it makes a massive difference, to be honest. If the manager has had these conversations with the respective players and they've decided mutually that they want to move on,
of course, the player isn't going to go and tell his agent, you have to get me a move. I would like to go and play in England. I'd like to go and play abroad. I'd like to go and play abroad. I would like to go and play in Saudi for the money. So they will have to also instruct their agent to go and get a deal. Agents are then also going to speak to other agents. They'll speak to clubs. They'll speak to managers. They'll speak to directors of football. So people within the industry, people within the game will know that Todd Cantwell and Yanis Hagi are available for transfer, regardless of not whether Clement comes out and says it in a press conference. I think the fact that he says it in a press conference, it at least lets the fans know what the situation is. If the manager hadn't said that after that Birmingham game that you were at a couple of weeks ago, people would have then asked time after time after time, no, is Todd fit? Is he part of the plans? Where is he? When you then start playing Hearts and you start playing Kiev and he's nowhere to be seen, that's then going to create a bigger storm than is necessary. The fact the manager came out and said, look, he wants to leave, he will leave, he's not part of the plans, I think that it kills that side of it, as Craig rightly says there. Yeah. It stops the rumour mill going into overdrive. Everyone knows where Cantwell stands in terms of Rangers. We now know where Yanis Hagi stands. I think that was clear anyway, but the manager again decided to make that clear when Josh asked him pre-match on Monday. So I think it's only right that the manager is as open and as honest as he can be when it comes to transfers. And I don't think Rangers are going to find themselves, if clubs decide to lowball them and say there's 250 grand, well, that's obviously not going to do it. Rangers will have a fee, and as much as both players want to move on, that doesn't mean to say that Rangers are just going to accept the first money that comes in and the first offer that's on the table. They will have a valuation. You might get 2-3 weeks down the line and that valuation isn't met, and you might have to drop it just to get the players off the wage bill. But as it stands, there's still plenty of time in the window. Rangers will have their number, and they will do their best, I'm sure, to try and get clubs to match that particular number.
Yep, Scott Swilder sums up. He says PC has quite rightly avoided creating a vacuum of Cantwell and Hagi. I'll be interested to see where both go. I know that Hagi was heavily linked with the move back to his former club at Fiorentina, but I understand that that's some way off Rangers' valuation, despite reports saying that he has agreed terms. Cantwell, for me, wherever he goes, I think there's a feeling of sort of wasted talent with Todd Cantwell. He's got a good thing at Rangers. The manager, when he came in and spoke to us after the Birmingham City game, came into the press room after conducted his press conference, which I haven't seen before, just to get the Cantwell situation off his chest and why he wasn't part of his plans. Wherever he goes, he's not going to play at a club as big as Rangers, I doubt, ever again, Chris. I think it's one of those. I know he had issues when he left Norwich at the time. It looks like he's going to leave with a bit of baggage at Rangers as well. I can't help but think that when he hangs up his boots, he'll look back and maybe regret maybe how moves have sort of unfolded.
How many players can we say that about over these last few weeks? Now you look at even players who have gone on and done well. That's a very short list. You look at Ryan Kent. Does he wish that he stayed? Does Alfredo wish that he put more into it and that he stayed? Does Joe Aribo wish that he hadn't chosen Southampton, having then been relegated? And that's just over the last couple of seasons. You do think that with Cantwell, one day will the penny drop and you'll realise, actually, I had it quite good at Rangers. I played for a big club that was going for silverware. I played at a level that he hadn't played at before. No. He will never play. I would highly doubt if he's going to play European football, certainly Champions League football, or have the opportunity to play Champions League football. I don't see him getting back to that level. You would imagine it's down to the Championship, and I think that probably suits him. I think he'll go there. He'll win to a team who perhaps not every player is as technically gifted as him. The fans will appreciate what he can bring. They'll appreciate some of the flicks and the tricks and some of the technical qualities. They'll appreciate some of the good goals, but they won't be as demanding as the Rangers fans. They won't expect that 90 minutes every single week. If you can go to the Championship and you can turn it on once every 3 games, or you play well 2 out of 3, that's going to be enough up here. That's not enough. That just doesn't cut it. I do wonder if he will at some point he'll think actually Rangers was the right club for me if I had just given it a bit more. But I say that's a conversation I think that we can have with a number of players. Giannis, I'd imagine he'll go back to Europe. I don't see him being a championship player. Obviously Fiorentina have, as you say, have been linked. There's the link with Galatasaray every 5 minutes. That one always comes up and never seems to materialise. But I think, as we've spoken about over the last few weeks, I'm not surprised that Cantwell is being allowed to move on. I think Rangers can do a lot better than Cantwell. Disappointed that Giannis's Rangers career has tailed off after
injuries killed it.
After that injury, and that really did kind of kill his Rangers career. But I certainly wish him well, wherever he ends up in the next stage of his career.
That's what slightly concerns me about Danilo, I've got to admit, with his injury. And we've seen so many Rangers players that have started brightly and suffered a really bad injury. Ian Durrant is one. Michael Moles, of course, is another. I just hope that Danilo can recapture some of the form prior to his knee injury. But a lot of folk asking where he is. Hasn't featured from the bench in midweek and also last weekend. But I think Rangers has been really careful with regards to Danilo. They don't want him breaking down again. So that is the reason why we haven't seen him. And Cyriel Dessers is the man leading the line as it stands. Let's get to a few points that are coming in there. Greg Simpson gets in touch. He says, Derek, can I get a shout out for the Stornoway Rangers Supporters Club up here working at the moment and was in for the game on Tuesday night? What a place. So big shout out to the Stornoway Rangers Supporters Club. I haven't been up that neck of the woods before, but certainly on the old bucket list. Have you been up there before, Chris?
I've not, no. But as you say, it does sound like a great, as Greg says, it sounds like a great place to go and watch a game. So no, it's not one that I managed to tick off yet. But hopefully, if Josh and Johnny fancy sending us both up, I'm sure there's a feature and a couple of videos in there. I think we could go up and paint the town red, white, and blue. If it's not been, I think it's probably done that. It's probably been done already, to be fair. But there's definitely a feature in that over the course of this campaign.
Yeah, let's do a live show up there. Let's get that sorted. That'll be absolutely fantastic. Just in another player that suffered a knee injury that never really recovered, CGM55 says Rosenthal is another player for that list. Yeah, absolutely. I remember when he signed, we only had sort of grainy footage at the time from his time in Chile, and everyone was excited. South American, Chilean international striker coming to Rangers. I think they spent just under $4 million for him at the time. I remember him getting paraded in front of the fans, then coming out, played against St Johnstone, scored, and then suffered that knee injury. And we never really seen the best of him after that, which was a crying shame. But it's so Rangers, Chris. It's not a recent thing. Down the years, it's happened before as well, when we seem cussed at times, so that we get these shiny new players in, and then all of a sudden they break down and they're never the same again.
And as you mentioned there with Danilo, that is the fear. We know that this is a really difficult injury to come back from. We've seen it obviously with Giannis, seen it with Jamie Murphy in more recent times as well. Different class of players than Moles, and a different class of player than Rosenthal. But if it has the impact that it did on the likes of Rosenthal or the likes of Moles, then it does become very, very difficult to come back from. So I understand why the manager is being patient with Danilo. Also, I spoke to him out in pre-season, and he went through some of the darker moments of that recovery. And there was days where he didn't see light at the end of the tunnel. He didn't see any progress. It's a hard thing to come back from physically. It's a really hard thing to come back from mentally as well. And it also, again, a point that we raised after the game on Tuesday, it feeds into the Dessers situation because you can't rely on Danilo. You can't say, well, he can go and play against St Johnstone, for example, in the League Cup. We'll go and give him 90 minutes. that's probably not going to be a possibility right now. So it does put a lot of pressure on Dessers. Thankfully, he's robust enough and he is able to come through that. But I do think we will have to be really patient with Danilo. It's obviously a difficult one when you're then still waiting on Hamza Agaman getting up to fitness and getting up to speed as well. Rangers short of alternatives at number 9, but hopefully in time Danilo is able to build himself back up. Hopefully Agaman is able to build him up for the first time, and Rangers will then have 3 options in that number 9.
Yeah, another player who suffered a bad injury. Bobby Finlay says it all like Kuznetsov, what a player he was, but suffered badly with that serious injury. And Dams with a point here. He says, don't forget Cortez. Can we not revoke the obligation to buy? We can't be doing with him getting injured every 2 games he starts. Rangers have committed to buy him next summer, I believe to be around, I think, 4 million there or thereabouts, Chris. But hugely unfortunate that he picked up that injury at Tynecastle. 45 weeks isn't, I've got to say, when I heard it was 45 weeks, it sort of breathed a bit of a sigh of relief, because you are worried, given his injury last season, that it could be several months. But we just need to touch wood that he comes back and he can steer clear of injury. But can't lie, is a bit of a concern. Out injured again, and I can understand why supporters that are slightly, shall we say, worried about the club spending a bit of cash on this guy if he's not available for several games.
I think the only thing that you can say is it's a different injury, which is probably the only positive. It's not a recurrence of something. It's not a case of he obviously missed a lot of football after signing last season. I think it was only 7 games he ended up playing before going off earlier down in against Kilmarnock. So if it had been a recurrence of that, if it had been another muscle injury of that sort, then you would then be, I think, more concerned. So is there a long-standing problem here? But I think people will naturally be wary. They will naturally be concerned because of Rangers' recent injury history. And there's been so many of these examples over recent seasons. We spoke a lot about it last season. The manager addressed it at his press conference last week when I asked him. He was confident that the changes that have been implemented in processes and in personnel, the work that has been done, he was confident and is confident that will have an impact. 24 hours later, you then go and lose a player to injury. But as I say, it's a different type of injury. Injuries that are sustained during a game, yes, they're frustrating. They're bad news for the club. Obviously, really bad news for the player. But it's a different type of injury. This one, if it was a repetition of a strain, then I think you'd be more concerned.
Yeah, and point as well, just ahead of the game on Saturday, Scott with an interesting point. He says, question, how's the pitch at Hampden and when will our players be on it, as it's supposed to be our home ground for now? Haven't heard anything about a new pitch. Rangers, of course, footing the bill for upgrades to the playing surface there. But we're right, we haven't seen the pitch and how it's looking. I'd imagine, well, I hope it's up to scratch and it's ready for the game on Saturday. The ground staff will be working hard, making sure it is. In terms of training on it, Chris, do you envisage the players going there perhaps tomorrow just to sort of get a feel of it all?
It's not something that I've heard Rangers are planning. It's not the worst suggestion in the world. I have to say that the manager is scheduled to have his press conference tomorrow. As far as I'm aware, it will be at the training ground, but I'll try and find out over the course of the day. I don't think it would be a massive concern, or the pitch at Hampden. It has been spoken a lot about in recent years. I think in more recent times it has been better. It's also not been played on for a while. Work has been done on it over the last few weeks, so I don't think it'll be a massive problem. I say Rangers will go through the process of trying to make Hampden feel a bit more like home if possible over these next few weeks. I wouldn't have too many concerns over the pitch, and ultimately it's a game that Rangers should be confident of going in there and doing the business in.
Yeah, you can't do that, says Morning Trips. I saw a drone video of the pitch yesterday. It looks stunning, guys. So there you go. Don't think we should have any concerns about that. Right, that'll do us there. Big thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in to the show. Just for those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members, we've got a new show lined up. Well, new shows coming your way. Chris, you're on with Stevie a little later on.
I am indeed. It's the first of our talking point series, and just to feed into what we've just been talking about there, it's going to be on Hampden and what this move will look like for Rangers, what impact it will have over these next few weeks. So the first of a new show that we're trialling out. As I'm hoping to speak to Stevie in the next couple of hours, once I can get him out of his bed, once he stopped playing Football Manager or woken up from his nap. I hope I'll speak to him over the next hour or so, and I say the first of a new series that we're going to run on the channel. So hopefully people enjoy it and tune in.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. I'll also be speaking to authors David Herd and Ian Stewart, who have co-written the brilliant biography on Rangers legend Tory Gillick. That'll be coming your way at some point today. Those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members, he is launching, I think the book launch is at New Edmonton House a week tomorrow. So, it was a brilliant read. So there's another show to look forward to today, folks. As I mentioned earlier on, you can watch Cyriel Dessers' press conference after the game against Dynamo Kiev over on the YouTube channel just now, and keep your eyes peeled on the website, on the social media channels, and also on YouTube as well if there's any breaking news coming your way. Just a heads up as well, thank you to each and every one of you for joining our WhatsApp group. Loads of you on there now. If you want to keep up to date, all the breaking news is on there. If you've got WhatsApp, then the link is in the description below this video. Do click on that and you can join us on there as well. Right, that'll do us. Enjoy your Thursday, folks. Speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.